Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, we're going old school. You guys know I'm old. Perry's probably a little younger than me, but he's brought out some great old rackets that are his favorites, and we got some super rare rackets here today. Stay tuned.
Harry, what do you got there?
Oh, it's Sky's new towel. It's the RTP Ultra Absorbent Towel. So this towel is the ultra dry towel made of soft and durable microfiber that won't irritate your skin. Absorbs 4 times its weight in water. Lightweight, compact, snap loop attached, easy to hang on fences or bags.
Where can I get one of those?
Let me get you one though, but you gotta try it.
Oh,
There you go, coach.
it works.
Dries you in a snap. All right, Perry, you and I are maybe the same age then, because I see some of those rackets over there that are right up my alley.
Oh yeah. So in fact, I think I'm 2 years older than you, Harry,
Oh,
if you
no,
can believe
no
that.
freaking way.
Well,
You
the
move a lot
salt,
better.
That's questionable, but that was a fun hit to hit, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That was awesome.
You hit really well.
Thank you. He was feeding it to me like a teaching pro, so I just look that good because of that. So, see, that's why I try to shave as much as possible too.
We both try to hide it well.
Exactly. All right, so we got, we're gonna go through his favorite rackets, and then he brought some other old school favorites too.
Sure.
But you got a 200G, Max 200G.
The Max 200G. So this is the pro version. So this is kind of what Steffi Graf was using. So growing up, when you probably remember the Nevada Bobs years in the early 80s.
Yeah,
so that's
for
dating
sure.
this boat.
Yeah.
So before I had gotten a graphite racket, I was using my grandmother's old Headmaster, and my uncle had a Prince Classic, the green throat one.
Yeah, totally.
And so when I joined my high school team, I saw my teammates with these really cool graphite rackets. So when I saw the original Max 200G, the green and gold that John McEnroe was using, I begged and pleaded to my parents. I said, if nothing else, please, Lord, just get me this racket. And so Christmas came, open all the gifts, nothing. And then suddenly my dad's like, hey, there's something behind the tree. And he pulls out this big box. I don't think it left my hands for about 3 days.
Nice. So
Yeah.
that was the original 200G.
That's correct.
Does this play any different?
It's firmer,
Okay.
a little more stable than the original. The original was made in England, which is the same as this. So the technology is pretty much the same. It's that injected mold graphite system. So you definitely felt the flex. The pro version just feels a little firmer, a little crisper, a little more pop to it.
So this one, like the throat area here, it looks like it's kind of brought in and then thinned out here. Was the original one like that too?
Yep, exactly the
Okay.
same.
I never noticed. Like
Yeah,
this
the
one.
mold looks near identical.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
beautiful racket. I just love the green and purple.
No, this definitely brings out the eyes of the
For
racket.
sure. Graph hit well with it.
Yeah, and we were out there with this, and I was trying the Graph slice, and I was always so surprised that Graph could get so much action off of the racket with being so small.
Yes.
But I get it now. I think the weight definitely helps it, and obviously she hit it perfectly every time.
Yep, her and Mac as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Mac would just, slice and dice that thing and just, awesome rackets.
Yeah, so that was a goodie, oldie but goodie.
So with that original 200G that I got, within probably a week or two, I noticed that the top of the hoop was a little bit warped.
Oh, these things warp?
I was surprised. It bent just slightly, and I looked. I was crushed. My world was, coming to an end. So I reached out to Nevada Bob's, and so I was able to return it and then exchange it. At that point, all of my teammates were essentially using this racket.
Oh, yeah. The original Prestige.
The head graphite edge. So I was a sophomore in high school. We just changed head coaches. Cliff Barrett was the coach at the time for Wollongong High School, and he took on a job as the head coach for the University of Santa Clara. And so the replacement coach, Ben Navarez, Ben, if you're watching this, thank you. First day he pulls up in this silver Scirocco. Guy comes out of the car. You would have thought he was a professional football player, just shredded. Perfect Aless outfit, head to toe. The aviator glasses. We're like, who is that? That's your new head coach. What? And he had a graphite edge first edition. So it had a matte finish versus this glossy finish.
Mm-hmm.
And basically our team, for the most part, that was our racket of choice for a good number of us.
Oh. Now, there's definitely a difference between these two, right?
Yo, for sure.
Which one's more flexible?
This feels softer to me.
Interesting.
This, though also flexible, but you had some pop to it. It felt, there's something magical about this racket. I know Coach Rob, is it?
Yeah, he loves this. I think
Yeah.
this was one of his first rackets, too.
Yes, I echo those sentiments. The same thing. You let it ride, and it just crushed the ball. Very consistent, just super stable. The feel was excellent. I mean, it's a dream. That's definitely right at the top, and I'm grateful. John Swetka had this hanging up on his wall of fame, and I said, if ever those come down, I've got to get that because it's near mint.
Exactly. I was looking at this too. I was like, I don't think it's been used. If used maybe once.
If that, yeah,
If
maybe
that,
one time.
yeah.
And it has the writing on there.
Yeah,
So
it has that.
yeah. So I think this was probably the last issue before they moved on to the TXE.
And it still says AMF on the bottom.
Yep, made in the USA.
So
Beautiful
all right.
racket.
Wow. Well, I hope he gave it to you.
John.
John.
So enter the 90s, and I was trying a bunch of different rackets, but the one that I kept coming back to, which I'm sure
Oh, yes.
a lot of people used, the good old Pro Staff Classic 6.1. So I had tried the 6.085 originally when it came out back in 83, 84. At that time, it was in no comparison to that graphite edge. It just felt too firm to me. It just felt like a brick, like no give. And I liked that sense of give. So when I tried this, that reminded me a little bit of that graphite edge in some ways. So it just felt a little easier on the arm, a little more forgiving compared to the 6.0. Plus it was a 95 and it was a 16-18 string pattern. So definitely good access to spin at that time. And just great hitting racket.
Did you ever try the 4.2 version of this?
For about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little too firm for me. And you'll probably remember Dick Overstreet.
Yes.
So when I first joined Sweatkas in 92, so Dick was showing us the hammer line.
Mm-hmm.
And of those hammers, there was a 5.2.
Yes.
The purple and
the
black
purple one. Yes.
And I said, I don't care what it plays like. I've got to try that. So I got the mid plus version of that. Hit really well with it. I wish I'd kept them. I don't know what happened to them, but that was a fun racket.
Yeah, I remember. But that was a thinner beam.
Yes, much like this.
All the weight was here.
Yes.
And I don't think it weighed that much. I feel like it was like in the 10, 2, 3, 4 realm.
Yeah.
Strung.
Yeah.
But all that weight was at the head, whereas this thing is 11.7.
All
kind of.
handle,
Yeah.
yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's completely different animals, but both played well for different reasons.
Yeah, I didn't really love this racket. I wanted to love this racket, but I didn't love it. The 4.2 was more of my favorite. I needed the extra stiffness. And the 4.2 was also lighter. It was also lighter. Yeah.
Now, they made a 6.095, but that felt too light to me in the head. I mean, I had to
Was that
weigh
the thinner
thing.
beam one?
Just like the original 6.085, but then they made a 95 subsequently. But
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it was so disappointing. It just felt too light. So, but if you added a ton of weight, I should have brought that with me.
I think I've told this story to people out there already, but there was, when I was working at Lombardi's, this touring pro came in. It was a woman. She had a 90 version of this. It looked just like this, except that it was a 90. And she's like, I want to trade this racket. Would you take it from me if for 95? And I looked at the racket and I'm like, sure.
Where do I sign?
Which one do you want?
Take your pick.
Exactly. And then I think it was like an Edberg model. Like,
yes. Now they made an 85 for him as well. There's
Okay.
two versions of it. So this paint job, and similar rounded mold, but in an 85. And it was
an
available.
85 then.
I think it was an 85
Okay.
because it was available in Japan and Europe only.
Yeah, she was a touring pro. I mean, I can't tell if it's an 85 or a 90 because it's pretty, but it was this thick.
Yeah, so
and it
this
looked
paint
just like
job
this.
is that exact paint job, but an 85.
Yeah.
And then they had an 85 square beam version with this kind of paint job, but not as pronounced.
Right.
So they had two versions of that 85 for Edberg.
Wow.
And if you go on eBay, you're talking in the thousands.
Yep. Damn it.
I know, darn.
Don't have it anymore.
Mikey Lotta, if you're out there, I feel your pain.
Oh yeah.
He's a huge Edberg fan.
Oh no way.
Oh yeah, big time. When he was with Adidas.
Mike goes back with me too in Adidas days. Yes.
Absolutely, and Dwelly.
Yes.
So.
Wow.
Small world.
Exactly.
So I did bring out a couple.
Favorites?
So those are my, as far
These
as
are your
playing,
all-time favorites?
as far as
Wow.
during my playing,
Okay.
yeah, throughout the years, if you will.
Got it.
So I did bring some honorable
You
mentions.
brought some old.
So these were ones that, I wish I could have had back in the day. We'll start with my idol at the time,
Yvonne Lendl.
GTX Pro. So for those of you that are of our age, the shape should probably look familiar. So they actually, Adidas, when they moved their facilities to France from Germany, they wanted to sign Yvonne Lendl, but they wanted him head to toe in Adidas because before he was wearing Australian with the little kangaroo and the Superga shoes. So they knew that he was using a Nisel.
Kneisel or Nisel?
Nisel.
Americans say Kneisel.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a White Star Pro, 75 square inch head, egg shaped, made in Austria. So basically Adidas said, we'll buy the mold.
Oh, interesting.
And so the first Adidas GTX Pro were actually still made in Austria. They just painted it. And then subsequently, this version was made in France.
Got it. Wow. See, I hit with it today, and I think the thing that makes this racket is it's thick right there. It's this part. And it's way stiffer than people think this is. When you hit it right, it hammers it. Now, I can see why Lendl's backhand was so deadly when he let it rip.
Yeah, there's something about that. When you line it up and just let it ride, you could crush the ball with that. Being over 13 ounces though over time, compared to today's game, it's a workhorse. I mean, if you want to go to war, that's the one you want to.
Oh yeah.
If you can handle the weight.
No, this was awesome. I hit with this today. This was awesome.
Yeah, just love the paint job, everything. I mean, I still wish I had some of his Adidas Argyle stuff, and I wish I'd kept all that.
Yeah, when these came out, there was no way my parents were gonna pay $200
right.
for this.
So I was fortunate to, just waited, bided my time, and found one on eBay at a decent price. I said, I've got to get one.
And we got some Boom Boom here, I see.
Yep. The Puma. It's funny how Adidas, Puma, the Dosler brothers. So when I saw Becker hitting with this, he was using the Becker winner first, the silver and red. And then when he changed to the blue one, I said, oh, wow, that looks pretty incredible. And I was able to hit with it. I used it briefly when it came out. Just super flexy at some points. But the thing that caught my eye was the adjustable handle.
That's right. I forgot about that. You can make it longer.
Longer or shorter, yes.
Yes.
So you just get either a flathead screwdriver or something that you just fit in there and you just turn and you can adjust the length of the racket. Still works. I forgot a screwdriver.
I feel like Dunlop should have done this.
iDapt?
That's a different video though.
Yeah, I think and Ken still has an iDapt.
Okay, we talked about that earlier.
We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, fail. Anyways.
But that, I mean, just such a beautiful racket, fun to play with. Yeah, another similar where you could just, go to town and you could crush the ball with that as well. So you kind of sense a theme, right, with all these rackets.
Totally.
And then fast forward.
Oh, yeah, here we go. He lent me this one. This was awesome, actually. Like when I got a hold of it and I came around, this thing hammered the ball really, really well.
Yeah.
It stayed nice and low too.
With that 1620 string pattern. So this is the VOR 95D or the Wawrinka frame. I should have spec'd it out to his actual specs because he added weight in the hoop, obviously.
Wow.
Leather grip. So, and he's using RPM Blast. I forgot the actual tension.
Oh, it's RPM Blast.
Yeah, he was using RPM Blast. Yeah, he's always used that for some reason. He never switched to a Yonex.
He didn't go strike? Oh,
no, surprisingly.
Interesting.
They didn't have Rev at the time.
Yeah.
Probably he would have gone that way.
I thought strike would be the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's a good one. So you actually have a great little collection here of your favorites.
Some of the treasure trove.
Yeah. No, these are wonderful. If I found these at, anywhere, I'd get them at a decent price, except for the 6/195. Not my favorite. All right, well, thank you for sharing.
Oh, there's one for the road.
One more? Oh. I never knew they did this.
Really?
So, yeah, this is the first time I've actually ever seen it like this.
Snauwaert ergonom.
Yeah, interesting. So what was the deal with this racket?
So I think the racket came out, I want to say in maybe 83, 84. The only reason why I remember it then was at the time I was a sophomore. Yeah, so that would have been 82. Our number one player, who had been using a Prince Pro, suddenly came out on the practice court one day and he had that racket in his hand. It's like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a Snauwaert. And I said, I remember a few touring pros using it at the time.
They didn't look like this, though.
No. So whoever I think it tells you the name of the
ergonom,
right.
Or is it somebody else?
Somebody else, designed by
ETR.
Yeah. So.
Oh, no.
Designed by
Gibello.
Right. Some wacky Belgian. So figured if you take a swing at it at a certain angle, by realigning the head, you're optimizing the sweet spot of the racket. Great in theory.
How did it play?
For most of us, it's like, I mean, certain players, when they hit it, actually hit really well with it. But it's not, it definitely takes a getting used to. I couldn't figure out how to serve with it.
So when we were out hitting, I was hitting it with it like this because it makes sense with my Western grip, to slide in here.
That's right.
But then I asked you, I was like, am I holding it right? And you're just like, no, look at the directions. Direction says to hit it like this.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, so basically I was
taking half of your sweet spot.
Exactly. So basically it was like I'm using this part of the racket only.
Yeah, because I think when they developed it, you think about it back in the early 80s, other than Borg, nobody was really using a Western grip per se. Everybody was either using a chopper grip or an Eastern forehand grip. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Hitting a little more flat, a little more linear.
I mean, when I got a hold of it, it went, and it has good weight at the...
Oh, the plow through is ridiculous. It's almost 14 ounces.
Yeah, no wonder.
Yeah, it's a heifer.
But definitely interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, I figured something different to bring out.
I'd buy this if I saw it at Goodwill for $5.
well, I'll tell you. This is John's, and actually a good customer of ours just recently purchased it for a little bit north of
Oh,
$3.
so this is on loaner? Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But thought you might like to see that.
Got it. All right. Great. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me,
know,
inviting me here to your
know,
club. It's beautiful up here.
thank you for sharing your collection.
My
Guys,
pleasure.
if you see any of these at a decent price and you're a collector like Perry here, definitely grab them, especially this V-Core. I know this one probably goes for a fortune. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.